Greetings, travelers. My name is Nick Murphy.
And my name is Satchell Drakes.
Welcome to Cinephilia Anonymous. We're going to take you on an interstellar adventure through the darkest corners of your mind to unlock your hidden passion for cinema.
Cinema, minima, nima.
Dude, that's weird. Yeah, I love that intro. It's so it's over the top but fun, right?
Yeah, man.
All right, cool. So this week we're going to be talking about Donnie Darko.
Yes.
All right, good, man. I'm glad you're on board.
Stoked.
Nice. So just some real quick facts. This was written and directed by Richard Kelly. This is one of his. He had made some short films before, but this is his first feature film, which is crazy.
Wait. What did you do before? So like shorts before that?
Yeah, he did like shorts and stuff, but nothing.
Okay, cool.
This is like his first foray into that. It was cool. Actually, Drew Barrymore and her production company produced the film too. So she starred in it. And
I didn't even know she had a production company.
Yeah.
That's legit.
I think she did the Charlie's Angels movies. Maybe, I don't know.
That makes sense.
Sure
Yeah, I'd pin that on her. Yeah.
All right. So this stars Jake Gyllenhaal. We mentioned Drew Barrymore's in it. Also, his sister, or Jake's sister, Maggie Gyllenhaal, is in it. As well as Patrick Swayze, who is boss as hell in this movie.
Yeah, man.
And then what else? So this movie came out in 2001. I was reading online that because of September 11th, there's some issues with it, so they kind of like almost pulled it, and it almost got released like straight to video. So like in the movie, there's like a plane crash kind of thing.
Oh man, but it's so far removed from that. But I get it. I get it.
I mean, people were like super sensitive around that time, so I guess it makes sense. But yeah, let's just like dive right in, man. So, have you seen this movie before, Satchel?
I have not. This is the kind of movie. This is one of the reasons why I love that we're doing this together. Because there are probably so many different. I don't know what this is categorized under, but in my head, the way people talk about it, it's some kind of classic. I know it's 01, but it's some kind of classic.
It definitely has that like cult classic like status. At this point, it was just like a movie that just kind of like fell under the radar, and then like I'm trying to think when I got first exposed to it. I remember like seeing the cover over and over again at like West Coast Video.
Exactly, and I remember seeing this was like the film that was on the poster that I saw on all my friends' walls, and I was like, I should probably check that out sometime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely like. It's got that like the iconic like rabbit, like Frank the rabbit is like super iconic, and you're just like I assumed it was like a horror movie when I first like watched it.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm trying to okay, so for someone who hasn't seen the movie, I'm trying to think like how to sum it up. Okay, so it takes place in the 80s. We follow Donald Darko. He's a high school student with all these like mental issues which start to like manifest, and he starts seeing a 6-foot tall bunny rabbit that's like scary as hell, that gives him the message that the world is going to end in 28 days. And then
with some prompt directions to follow leading up to that day. Yeah.
Of just like how to avert this, basically. So he starts dealing with time travel, starts dealing with there's a lot of like underlying themes that like I'm interested to hear like that we can talk about and stuff.
There were so many different layers to it. Yeah,
and I think that's what makes a good sci-fi movie. Like it doesn't. You could just make it about like action or like an idea, but like when you have like I don't know about you, but like I was like super intrigued with like Donnie's parents. Like I could watch like an entire movie of just them.
Yeah, that's one thing that I really kind of enjoyed about it, because it definitely stuck to the main narrative in a way. Like there was sort of like this central thing going on, like this countdown to Lord knows what it even was. But in that countdown, there was like this. There were like these crash style. It wasn't fully crash style, but it was crash enough in a sense that like there were these different like micro narratives going on at the same time, like stuff going on at school, stuff going on at home, stuff going on in a relationship.
Yeah.
That just kept going throughout the film. Like even that like I forgot her name, but the portly Chinese girl.
Oh,
like
Charita.
Charita. Like even that, like her bit was like it was part of the whole movie.
Yeah, every minor character in this is like super fleshed out, and like they all, you're right, they all have an arc, and I think that like that adds to kind of like the overall thing. Like so my understanding of what happens is that the world is going to go kind of going along, and this alternate timeline happens, right?
Yeah.
Which is where we follow the movie, and basically Frank telling Donnie that the world is ending is basically saying like this alternate parallel timeline is going to end, so you need to do these things to make it go back to the regular timeline.
Yeah.
That's kind of like my understanding of it. So like, and it's weird because like I feel like every character in the movie is there to help Donnie do that. Like the two teachers like give him all the information that he would need. Like the one science teacher, played by Noah Wyle, is like, hey, here's what you would need to time travel, and here's how it works. Yeah. And then like his other teachers giving him like all these oh, then the kids flood the house, and then Donnie like floods the school. You know what I mean? Like each of these events sets off something else down the way. Dude, it's such a bizarre movie,
with,
man. But
with the help of Frank, I think, man, what if we can just go, like if we could just hit the pedal. The one thing that just, I guess the one thing that I kept trying to figure out was who Frank was. Like,
right.
I was so confused as to who he was and why he was appointed as like an authority. I mean, at first in my head, he's like a hallucination, right? Yeah. He's just sort of like this person that appears. It's clear off the bat. There's this kid. He's troubled.
Right.
He talks to his parents in ways that I would never get away with.
Oh my God. That dinner scene is like out of control.
Dude, it was so, I know dude, they hit the ground running, man.
Yeah.
That banter was so sweet. It had me rolling.
Dude, it's so good. And like, I don't know if maybe it's like my state of mind right now where like, you know, my wife and I just had a kid, and we're like constantly thinking about like our influence on him, and you know, like our main concern is like, I want to make sure this kid is a good person, you know, and like does good in the world. And then, you know, I was watching that scene, you know, when I was rewatching it, and I was just like, how does it get, like at one point they had like little baby Donnie Darko, and they're like, oh, this kid's going to be great. And then at some point he just gets troubled, and like, you know, like there's a point where like the mother's just like, we will not have this like at the table. And then she goes like and confronts him, is like, who is this? Who are you? Like, who is this person? Like, I don't recognize my
zero
son.
Authority.
Yeah.
Like, no.
And he's just like out of control. And I was just like, oh my God, like, how does it get to that? Like, that's what I'm fascinated by the parents, like in the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? You're right. I wanted to know, I almost wanted like a small prequel to see how they raised him and how they dealt with his mental issues and where it even came from. Like, there's no explanation for like a catalyst, and not that takes away from anything at all, but yeah, it piqued my curiosity with that.
Yeah, and that's what I think is like really great about all the like I was just saying, like with all the characters, like each one of them could have their own movie and their own arc, and you would just be fascinated with it. Yeah.
And that's sort of where I was hoping to find out a little bit more about Frank. I mean, it surprised me to find out that, first it surprised me to find out, all right, this guy isn't a complete hallucination. Like,
right,
he's out there in the real world. Other people can see and interact with him.
Yeah.
Or actually, I don't know if we have proof of interaction. Yeah, we do have proof of interaction.
Yeah, at the end of the movie there.
And then you completely find out that he's mortal.
Right.
And that he's not, they take away his sort of prophet status when he accidentally kills
Donnie's girlfriend.
Donnie's girlfriend.
Yeah.
And then I was just
he's
like,
just like a man.
Whoa,
and I think he's Elizabeth's, or not Elizabeth, is that his sister's name, his older sister's name?
I think so.
Yeah, whatever her name is. Frank is her boyfriend.
Oh.
At the party at one point, she's like, where's Frank? Has anybody seen Frank? And then
oh shoot.
Yeah.
I didn't even catch that.
Right. And dude, like I didn't notice this until like rewatching it. Or rewatching it, and I watched like the commentary and stuff, but Richard Kelly like does commentary with Kevin Smith on it, and they're talking about it, and he's like, when people watch this again, what they don't realize is that in the beginning, when Donnie is riding his bike back like from like the mountains, right?
Yeah.
He rides his bike by this like red Camaro or whatever kind of car that is. That's Frank's car. He's dropping Donnie's sister back off at the house. Yeah. So like he's like, there's just little pieces, like he's like, I don't expect everybody to pick up on that. He's like, but like once I heard him say that, I was like, oh shit, Jesus. That's insane.
That is insane.
Yeah, you're right though.
Dude.
But like he has this like mysticism in the beginning of the movie, and then I feel like he still kind of like has it midway through, like when they're in the theater and he's like, why do you wear that suit? Take it off. And he takes it off, and you see like the
see man. The eye.
Yeah, and the eye is like messed up, and he's like, why do you call yourself Frank? And like the way he says it, he's like, it was my father's name and my father before him.
Yeah, I was like, what?
I was like, that's still kind of like mystic, but I was like, but I guess it makes sense. So it's like Frank the Third, basically.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Oh man, it's so going through the whole thing, like what was your like experience like watching this all the way through for the first time, because you'd never seen this before?
I think what kept me the whole way, so this whole thing was, I guess, all right, so two things were happening. The first thing that was happening was I was constantly trying to figure out what kind of world I was in. Because
right.
It wasn't just the fact that Frank was around and this guy was hallucinating. It seemed like the world around him, the people around him were kind of, there were certain people that were onto something. Like Drew Barrymore, like the character that she plays, she was sort of onto something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there seemed to be this kind of like, and I think at the end, you kind of see that there's this like misfits. There's like this misfit awareness, right? Where like when the world is falling apart, like the misfits know the true meaning of life. Like the admittedly broken ask the real questions and like glance twice at things. Like the criticism at like Jim Cunningham. Like Jim Cunningham is sort of like this cosmetically well put together guy who's simplified like the complexities of like emotion and growth and discipline to fear and love. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, I was a little bit disappointed with Donnie's counter arguments to doing that. He was disgruntled with the way that, and maybe it's more realistic than anything else, but he was disgruntled with the way that like Jim Cunningham and even his follower that really like
that super
catty
religious lady,
the super religious lady that was super annoying that I wanted to punch in the face. Like, like even though like I felt like they were wrong and that they were doing it wrong and they were being super legalistic, his counter argument was just like, well, it can't be minimalized. Just cut. There was no compelling counter argument, I guess. But it's okay because he's in high school, so I guess it was like supposed to be sophomoric anyway. But no, I know what you mean, but like he kind of gets that like it where he's like confronting those kids. But you're right, it's like misdirected. He's aiming this like real criticism at these kids. I think he's just trying to like counteract what Jim Cunningham says. I mean, he even says like you're the Antichrist. It's like if Donnie is this Christ-like figure in the movie, Jim Cunningham would be this Antichrist, because like Donnie's giving them this like harsh reality kind of thing, and Jim Cunningham's giving them this like head in the sand aspect to things, like, well, you could just like hide your head and none of this will go away. None of it matters because it's either fear or love, and you can do the opposite and it's fine. Yeah, it's really strange. I thought he was gonna dive into some more, but nonetheless, like the whole film, I was trying to figure out what this world was like, if it was even a real one, or if it was an alternate reality, which it turned out being that, but you know, for different reasons. And and what the end of the world meant, because in my head it wasn't as clear cut as the end of the world meaning the world ended. Like for whatever reason, I didn't believe that's what it actually meant, but I really wanted to know what was going to happen at the end of this, and if there was going to be some major reason why flooding the school and burning down the house counted towards something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or if it was going to be this huge coming of age moment, which it kind of was. Like at the end, they sort of have like this montage where, you know, because there's so many pieces. Like there's the old lady and her being like some sort of like time travel genius. Like I wanted to know, is that going to be validated at the end? Like, is she going to be the wise one at the end that no one paid attention to? You know, is it going to be that kind of story? And then the psychiatrist, like I didn't know if she really thought he was completely whacked out or was kind of like following the things that he was saying. And there's a point in the movie where like, you know, she kind of like embraces him, and she has her own like theology on what the end is going to be like. And I don't know if that was just supposed to be like this Judeo-Christian thing, like if it was just sort of like this suburban soccer mom kind of response, or if she was totally hearing the things that he was saying. And I really want to know. I want to work through this together. I want to know what you think about. Well, you okay, so you watched all the commentary and stuff, so you kind of know.
No, but like this is a movie that like I like. This is like, it's a shame because this is one of my favorite movies. And it's tough because this movie's gotten. I think like it's gotten like a bad rep because of like the people who really enjoy it. It's almost like
do people not like? Yeah, tell me how is this received?
I like this movie, but I feel like because it's so like angsty, like people like embrace it for that. Like the way Fight Club is. Like Fight Club is a really well done movie. It's a really great movie, but people just like embrace that like Tyler Durden, it's like so, you know, like nihilistic, and you know, but like it's a well made movie, and I like the time travel aspect to it, but like so here's where I'm gonna like super nerd out. So there's multiple versions of this movie. So there's like a theatrical one, which how did you watch it? Did you watch on Netflix or like another copy?
Yeah, I watched it on Netflix.
Okay, and I'm trying to think which one Netflix is, because there's that, then there's like a director's cut that came out.
Oh shoot, I want to watch that.
Yeah, the director's cut has more information on it. So the director's cut has these little like inserts of like pages from that time travel book, basically like laying out like the rules of like what happens that then an alternate timeline will be made when an artifact from the original timeline shows up, and then they show like in the background they show like a clip of like the jet engine, so they're like that's the thing.
Shoot.
That's the
I didn't
artifact.
even pay attention to that.
Yeah, so they're like that's the artifact of it.
Dude, I was so distracted by the fact that like I was like, they're talking about time travel so matter-of-factly, like as if this isn't all hypothetical. Like, what?
Yeah. And that's what I really like. I like that they don't get into like these like logic loops. Like if you see Looper, like they're like him and Bruce Willis have this conversation where like, hey, we can talk about time travel all day and we would just be here in this diner all day, but like this is how it works and this is what it is. Let's move on. And you're right, they are very like, these are the rules of time travel. This is how it works.
Right. I do like that, rather than it sort of being like this piece where you're like, all right, time to justify to the audience that this is, because there's always that one guy that's like,
yeah, dude, it's just like, it just makes it so much easier if you're just like, these are the facts, this is how it is, here we go, you know. It's nice like that. So there's that stuff, and then I think there's like some music changes, but like listening to like the Richard Kelly's commentary really helps like get an idea of what is going on in his mind. And like, so like I've kind of like broken it down. Like I kind of think that like this alternate timeline happens, and I almost feel like the universe like manipulates all of these people to like fix it. Like they're like the universe is like, shit, something is wrong, we need to course correct. So like everybody in the universe is going to like help Donnie fix the universe. And like in the like the pages from the book, they keep calling him the vessel. They're like people who are alive will help the vessel course correct, or they don't say course correct, but like write and get the tangent, like help the tangent universe end to get back to the regular universe. So like when like so Drew Barrymore like chooses the story that they're going to read, and it's one that like Donnie connects to, because like he later tells the story about how he like burned this house when that's why he's going to therapy, because he like set this house on fire. So he's reading this like story about these kids who set this house on fire, but before they set the house on fire, they break a water main, right? So she's like implanting this information into him, right? And then he floods the school, and that's when he meets her name is Gretchen. That's her name.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Right. That's it. Yeah. His girlfriend. He meets his girlfriend, right? And
Yeah.
So, but like, if he hadn't flooded the school, and if his teacher hadn't chosen that book, he would never have met her to like set the rest of these events in motion, kind of thing. So like, she even says like, Donnie's like, does she say it? I think she says, she's like, I'm glad the school got flooded because otherwise we never would have met. And then there's that nice moment at the end of the movie where like she rides up on her bike and, you know, goes about her life like not knowing
who she is.
Who Donnie is. And in this real timeline, Donnie's like dead the whole time.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. It's like definitely like a multiple viewing movie that like, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it again.
What'd you think of like the setting and stuff? Like I was trying to think like why he picked like the 80s as a.
So now, now as far as the setting's concerned, okay, like okay, time period. I guess this is a little different. But as a side note, now I kind of feel like I even like I already liked this movie, but I feel like I like it even more the more I remove my expectations of it being a real world, but more of a fictional world where all this the written material and realities of like time travel and prophecy can exist. Like the moment I do that, now I feel like this movie's almost in a different light where I'm willing to like I guess that's really I'm more willing to suspend disbelief in that kind of way.
Yeah, it's almost like a destiny thing, like basically Donnie, if you're going through that like hero's journey kind of thing, like Frank shows up, this is Donnie's destiny, this is his call to action, and he has to like do it, and like he meets these people along the way that almost like elevate him, you know, like it's like in Final Fantasy 7 in Advent Children, they're all like uplifting him to do it, you know?
Defying gravity and all
dude, they're doing that super boost, man.
Yeah.
So I was trying to think of like the 80s, like why set it in the 80s, you know?
That was I mean, I liked it.
Like the only thing I can think of is like that Cold War threat, you know, like maybe like that world, you know, people were like really scared about nuclear Holocaust happening, and like I don't know, just
you know what?
That's the only thing that pops out to me.
It allowed them to play into that whole like Pleasantville nuclear Fox family vibe a lot easier. Because if it took place in 2001, it would seem a bit too far removed. Right. But if you place it then, it almost allows you to like, I don't know, I guess to play into idealism a little bit more, and for people to be okay with it. Like for me, that setting prepared my mind to cast like all the different like characters that I saw in I guess a more one-dimensional light, which helped me understand things. Also, side note, Seth Rogen, y'all.
Yeah, dude, right? Looking
funny.
Super young.
Yeah, right.
Dude, and he's like, I like your boobs.
Yeah.
Dude, that's Seth Rogen cameo. That's really funny.
Yeah, but it gave me that frame of mind to, I don't know, to take that in a lot better.
I was thinking about too, like
we got that fashion down.
Oh yeah, dude, seriously, right? Oh my god,
fucking skeleton bone tee and all that other.
Dude, it's so perfect. And then oh my god, how good is the music? The music is like right up my alley. Yeah. Every song that came on, I was solid. Like, yes. You know, I was thinking too, just like on a side thing, like because it was like released in 2001, and they kind of had that 9/11 thing. Like, it's kind of crazy that this comes out 9/11. It's like a movie about a plane disaster, and like that changes this world forever. Do you know what I mean? And I was kind of like, oh my god, then like that's like a 9/11 thing that happened. Like this plane disaster happens and like changes the world forever. It's just one of those things. It's just like, whoa. That's crazy. These two things are just like aligned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there was like a band that were like released like an album of, and like it was like the World Trade Center like on fire. They had to like pull it kind of thing. So it's just like one of those weird coincidence kind of things.
Yeah.
It's just really strange, man.
It is. Let's talk a little bit about the technical stuff that they did. Like I loved. Well, for me, I mean, you probably know. I have this problem with lens flares. I love them, and I use them way too much.
No, dude, they're great.
But there's just something about light. I can't leave it alone. The DP on this thing, whoever, like...
Yeah, let me see if I
loved
have that
lens flares. And there were like a lot of lens flares, a lot of Dutch angles, but it was cool because... it helped with the hallucination, and there was a lot of recapping and a lot of just a lot of recapping. Like whenever you jump in, they would like jump into Donnie's mind for a second and then jump back out, so there'd be like a lot of time lapses and there was like
there's a lot of like time plays, like for you know, as much as like time is like a theme throughout this movie. Like, you know, there's a lot of like slow motion and then ramp to time lapse and stuff. It's really the one that stands out immediately to me is like. The Tears for Fears song, like when we first get introduced to the high school, and like basically every character that we're going to see throughout the movie is like shown to us in this one montage kind of thing. It's really, really well done.
That was cool. Yeah, I think that's probably the coolest, because we know so many movies have the down the high school hallway scene where that was probably the coolest one, I'd say. They had this like surrealist, they had these surrealist landscapes in there. Like, do you remember? For me, I didn't know when this movie was made. I didn't know it was '01 until you said it a couple of minutes ago. At first I was like, was this put out in the 90s? Because then I got super impressed by the CG in it. But there's this one like landscape they put in one of Donnie's hallucinations. It's like these like the fronts of buildings in like water. It's dude,
it's actually the high school, like but it looks like buildings. It's so like I think they're like the lockers or something. But yeah, I thought the same thing. It's like this like
so cool.
It
was
awesome
like Dali.
Yeah, seriously, man, it was really well done. And like everybody who does like the drawings in there and like the paintings and stuff are really, really incredible. You know, like all the sketches of like. There's like a really like messed up sketch of Frank, and then a really like great like eye with like a skull in it.
Yeah,
like,
with the skull inside of it. That was cool. I didn't catch the skull until they zoomed in on it later. I thought it was really cool.
Oh, it's so great, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, why don't we take a break and we'll come back and discuss more.
Yeah, man.
Let's see it.